What's good, Panther Nation? It's your boy, Myron McRae, a.k.a. Tornado McRae across the skies of the internet, here with another episode of Panther Pride TV, your one-stop shop for all your Panther notifications and your Panther obligations. And happy Tuesday to all of y'all. Hope y'all are having a great day, and just want to say thank you to Underdog Fantasy for being the sponsor of this video. Guys, please make sure that if you're going to go play Underdog, please, just go up here, use this little QR code, and you can go play Underdog Fantasy with me and all of my friends, man. I think last night, Underdog did pretty well for me in regards to the national championship game for Miami and Indiana. But as I'm saying, guys, make sure to go play Underdog Fantasy. Use the QR code right up there, and you can get started today. But let's go ahead and get into today's docket, man. A few things that I've seen, and a little bit of curiosity has been piqued in my interest, and I think y'all would like this too. But first things first, I saw a listing, and it displayed who were the best and worst Carolina Panthers in 2025. Now, obviously, that caught my attention. I wanted to see, and I was curious as to where this came from. So this rating is coming from Pro Football Focus. We do know how they have PFF grades all year. They'll grade how you did in the game, how you did in the season, so on and so forth. So they have put out the list of who were the best Carolina Panthers on both offense and defense of the 2025 season. So let's go ahead and look at this. First up, we're going to look at the offense. And the best offensive players for the Panthers this year were Taylor Moton, Tedero McMillan, Damian Lewis, Jalen Coker, and Brady Christensen. While the worst on offense, according to their PFF records, were Cade Mays, Hunter Renfrow, Xavier Legette, Jatavian Sanders, and Chandler Zavala.
Nani?
Now, this is based off players who played a minimum of 100 snaps this season, so that's how they've accumulated these numbers. And I'll be honest. Brady Christensen is the shock for me on offense in the top 5. I didn't anticipate him being there. Cade Mays is actually the shock for me, is one of the worst ones on offense with a 61.0 rating. And I feel it's shocking to me because when I've seen Cade Mays play as opposed to Austin Corbett, it's been light years better. I felt Cade Mays is the better center. I still do, even with this rating up here. I feel Cade Mays is the better center. So him being in the top 5 worst players, but Austin Corbett wasn't, I'll admit, kind of shocking. The other one is Jatavian Sanders. I didn't think Jatavian Sanders was that bad, but y'all could tell me if I'm wrong. I've heard it split the entire season. Some people say Jatavian's good. Some people say Jatavian's bad. Some people just like, he's midfield. I thought it was more like midfield to good range. But according to this, the man was one of the worst ones on offense. So that's kind of shocking. Now, to flip that, and also I think him breaking his ankle in the last game of the season, so he didn't really get a whole last game to help his case, may have hurt him. Just maybe. Now for defense, top 5 players on defense. You have Mike Jackson, Derek Brown, Corey Thornton, Nick Scorton, A'Shawn Robinson. Whereas the worst on defense were Princely Umanmielen, Christian Rosebroom, LeBrian Ray, Chris Barnes, and Turk Wharton.
Nani?
My shocker here for the best on offense goes to Corey Thornton. Not saying that I didn't think he was great. I didn't know he was top 5 great. I will say that. I didn't know he was top 5 great. And then on defense, I'm actually going to go Turk Wharton. I think Turk really shot me that he's, based off the PFF, he's the worst one on defense. That's a little shocking to me. Roseboom, I'm not surprised is there. And the fact that a lot of linebackers on here, Umanmielen, Roseboom, and Chris Barnes are three of the bottom five. Kind of shocking. Now, I will say this. In Umami case, he was injured quite a lot and did not get as many reps. And he was a rookie, so I'll give Umami a little bit of a pass. But considering Scourton was top 5 and they literally the same draft class, gotta take something into account. Roseboom, it kind of sucks that he's bottom 5, especially due to the fact that he was considered a centerpiece manifold here for us. And he actually had a team high of 19 missed tackles. So, Roseboom being bottom 5 is crazy, but Turk Wharton to me definitely shocks me as the bottom, because when it's all said and done, I felt Turk was one of the better players on defense. So seeing that, a little bit shocking. Next, even some more shocking news. Apparently, there are rumors that Romeo Doubs could be coming to Charlotte.
NANI?
Right? Like, hold up now. What is it? What on it? So, Romeo Doubs has reportedly put up on his Instagram story essentially a montage of sorts detailing his goodbye or potential departure from Green Bay. And a lot of people are looking at it like, okay, is he leaving? Is he gone? And so there are rumors about, hey, Dan Morgan, should you be looking at potentially bringing in Romeo Doubs? And this next article comes from Dean Jones of Cat Crave, and here's what he had to say with Romeo Doubs potentially coming to Charlotte, or at least looking into it. There's no guarantees. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, there's no guarantee that this is he is, or there's talks. It's a rumor that Dan Morgan should look into this. And he says, according to the Sport Track, the former Nevada standout Romeo Doubs is expected to generate $12 million per season on a 4-year, $48 million deal. That's not cheap for someone who hasn't come close to 1,000 receiving yards in any of his 4 NFL campaigns. But the trajectory is only pointing up as he enters his prime years. This would all confirm Leggette's fate. The number 32 pick in 2024 has struggled to find any sort of consistency. His efforts this season were once again littered with individual mistakes, and patience is starting to run out. Canales proclaimed his faith in the wideout, and Morgan preached patience. But their actions in the weeks ahead will speak volumes. According to Sport Track, it's like, it definitely doubled. My fault. So, and then it followed that up to say, where was it? Because I was looking at it. There it is. It said Doubs has the talent to tip the scales alongside McMillan and Coker as mouthwatering potential attached. And with the Panthers right on the cusp of something special, Morgan cannot leave anything to chance. Now, we kind of talked about this yesterday in regards to Christian Kirk, right? Do the Panthers go out and get a guy like Christian Kirk or Romeo Doubs? And truth be told, let me make sure I'm not tripping. Because I just want to make sure. Okay. So right now, Romeo Doubs is getting better. So he's like at 425 his rookie year, 674 sophomore year, 601 junior. Like, I don't know why I said junior. Third year, and then 724 just this past season. 3 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. And his receptions, 42, 59, 46, 55. Honestly, he has produced better than Leggett. He has. And he's slowly getting better because his numbers have slowly gone up. Now, I probably would look into Romeo Doubs more than I would Christian Kirk, just because, like they say, Romeo is younger. But I'm also not trying to break the bank for Romeo Doubs. I'm definitely not trying to do that. He could be a fine addition. He'd be a really good addition. But I wouldn't want to break the bank just to go get him. And that's just me. But again, I'm just here. I don't know. At the end of the day, it could be a good move. It could be a bad move. We'll see how that goes. But with that being said, hold on. It could be good. There we go. Because y'all know, sometimes I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm also looking at what Christian. Yeah, nah, it wouldn't be worth getting Christian Kirk. It wouldn't be worth getting Kirk when it's all said and done, because Kirk has been around for what, 10 years about at this point, almost 10 years, and he started to decline. So yeah, it'd probably be better to go after Romeo Doubs than to go after Christian Kirk if we're comparing the two from yesterday to today. But also, with all that being said, man, one thing that wouldn't be a letdown, and one thing that y'all can always count on, is playing Underdog Fantasy. So y'all know the playoffs are still going on and everything's still going real grand here. So what you got to do is get all your gridiron action in Underdog Fantasy. And y'all know the deal. It's super easy. Pick your favorite players and go higher or lower any stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. And if you get them right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. And this past week, I didn't do as well with Josh Allen. I definitely did not. However, with everything going forward and the AFC and NFC title game set, I will say that they got Matthew Stafford for 257.5 passing yards on Sunday. And because he's now in, Jarrett Stidham at 190.5. And you know what? Stafford, I would say, probably might go lower just because of that Seattle defense, but I'm going to go higher on Stidham. I think Stidham could go 200 for 200. So, with that being said, y'all, what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use the promo code FOOTBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FOOTBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Listen, Underdog, make picks, win money. It's that simple.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text from 467-369.
And now we get to the third thing on our list, because it is prominent position that we have to look into this year. And we're going to look at the best offensive tackle prospects heading into the 2026 NFL draft, man. Because we looked at the linebackers yesterday, and now I want to look at the ones for offensive tackle, because we're going to need that. I genuinely think Carolina has to go get an offensive tackle in the first 2 rounds. Either first round or second round. They have to. With Icky being hurt and we don't know if he's coming back, we have to look at an offensive tackle just to help beef up the line too. You always got to help beef up the line anyways, because this past year, our O-line was so inconsistent due to injuries. Imagine how good we could have been if we had an O-line that played together every week since week 1. Nobody got injured. The simple fact of the matter that we ran like 14 different O-lines in the 18 weeks we played in the NFL, and we were still able to get into the playoffs. Kind of astonishing. But looking at the offensive tackles, this comes from NFL Draft Buzz, and here's who they say are our top prospects heading into the draft. So number 1, Francis Mauigoa from Miami. Number 2, Spencer Fano from Utah. 3, Caden Proctor, Alabama. 4, Jennings Dunker from Iowa. 5, Caleb Lumu from Utah. 6, Caleb Tierman from Northwestern. 7, Isaiah World from Oregon. 8, Carter Smith from Indiana. 9, Drew Shelton from Penn State, and 10, Austin Barber from Florida. Now, we did get a chance to see Smith and Mauigoa last night in the Miami and Indiana game. I thought Smith did really, really well. I thought he was great. I think he had that key false start on the last drive, which led them to have to go get a field goal. I think that was actually on him. So definitely got to have discipline in those clutch moments. But overall, from what I saw, he was doing good. Mauigoa, he did great, especially in the second half when they got their run game going. And looking at it based off the people I know and what I've seen so far, Smith could be a good one. Lomu probably. Drew Shelton probably from Penn State's probably a good one. I have to look more into him. I will be honest. I have to go back and look more at the film. I'm basing it off the limited action I've seen. So, guys, please don't kill me if y'all sit there and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to these tackles. I will admit, I will admit, I do not know everything about the tackles. I know we need a tackle. I know we need a good one. So I have to go back and look at the film, and I more than likely will go look at the film on YouTube and stuff like that just to get a better sense of who these gentlemen are at the tackle position. Because let's be real, the big boys don't get nearly as much film love as they should. They don't get nearly as much admiration as they should. So the simple fact that I'm not off the top of my head knowing who's the best offensive tackle, I don't think that should crucify me from not knowing football. I just have to go dig a little deeper. But what I do know, based off last night and based off where he's projected, Carter Smith wouldn't be a bad pick. Carter Smith would not be a bad pick. That's just me. I think he'd be a really good pick. I think he'd be a really good fit for the Carolina Panthers and just help beef up that line because Carter Smith is, let me pull him up real quick because I know that man's build is low-key kind of crazy in my eyes. Man is, okay, wait. Oh, no, different. Did I have two Carter Smiths? Or did I get his name wrong? I'm going to be so mad if they gave me the wrong name. Okay, no. They did. They just had the wrong guy. 6'5", 308. Yeah, 6'5", 308 pounds, Carter Smith. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure they didn't give me the wrong name. But, yeah, I feel like in terms of who may be available, Carter Smith could be a good pick. But if you know more about the offensive tackles, please let me know. Tell me who y'all think would be a great pick in the comment section below and just keep me informed. Tell me who I need to go look up in terms of highlights and film session when I go this weekend. And then, lastly, in terms of Panther freeze frame of the day, I want to pick up this fan photo from when Chuba Hubbard scored in the playoff game. I thought this was a great photo to just show the love and all the admiration the fans had for Chuba and for the Carolina Panthers when we were scoring and doing our thing. Beautiful photo. But now, y'all, it is time for y'all favorite segment, time for Panther Nation to speak your truth, and that's why I read y'all comments and see what you lovely people had to say. And the first comment comes from King Skip 25, says, there probably won't be 4 linebackers taken in the first round, and Reese is projected as an edge. So in the first, it might only be Styles and Allen. Would love Lawson, though. I think Lawson would be great. I think he would be a phenomenal addition just in my eyes because when it's all said and done, you have a number of players here who could really go. Alabama's always produced great talent. Just let's be real. In terms of skill positions, linebackers, receivers, running backs, offensive line, D-line, safeties, and corners, Alabama's always produced great talents. They always have. So I think Deontay Lawson could be really good and a really good addition there. It all just depends, man. Next, I've been hearing a lot of Bills fans about that interception call. I kind of don't see it clear as day as a pick from the Broncos and Bills game, but what are your thoughts? If it was an interception or should it have been a complete catch? Okay, let's talk about it, man. So, I've seen a lot of Bills fans complain about this. I've seen a lot of people complain about this. And fun fact, Joe Burrow actually agrees with my statement I'm about to say. It was an interception.
NANI?
The reason why it was an interception is because when you look at the play, and when it first happens, the receiver has his hands in there. The DB sticks one hand in there at the same time. Right as the receiver's catching it, the DB sticks one hand in there as well. And we've seen DBs get one-handed interceptions. So because it's simultaneous and they're both going to the ground, now it depends on who's going to come up with the possession. And if the Bills receiver had never lost possession, it would have been his catch. But the thing is, when they went to the ground and they're both trying to finish through the catch, the Broncos DB rips it away from him. So at that point, that's going through the entire motion of the catch. And because the Bills receiver never maintained possession or didn't maintain possession all the way through, it's an interception. Now, had he caught it, made two steps, and then the Broncos DB comes in and slips his hand in and tries to rip it out, cool. Then you have argument of like, yo, he's already down to the ground. He can't rip it away, so on and so forth. That's what happened with the Davante Adams situation. In the game with the Rams, Davante Adams was already having a knee on the ground before the ball was ripped out from him. Davante Adams had clear possession, made two moves running, then was going down to the ground before the ball ripped out. But for the Bills game, it was an interception off rip because as they were coming down, they both had possession simultaneously, so it came down to who was going to maintain possession. And the thing about it is, if there's a tie-up, just so y'all know, if there is a tie-up at the point of catch, it is given to the offense. So all the Bills receiver had to do was make sure the Broncos DB didn't rip it away. But because he didn't, it's an interception. I don't understand how people are misconstruing that. Joe Burrow said it was an interception. Chad Ochocinco has said it was an interception. Shannon Sharp said it was an interception. Like, I don't understand how it's getting misconstrued in that Bills game. I get you frustrated. I really do. But that was an interception clear as day. Because they both had the ball simultaneously. People for some reason do not want to see that bro got his hand in there as they're both going to the ground. So now he's also fighting for possession. So now you have to maintain possession all the way through. And because when they hit the ground, the Bills receiver loses it and the Denver Broncos DB is able to rip it away, that's an interception. He didn't maintain it all the way through the ground. Then third comes from Akeem Lowry 121 says, if I'm the Panthers, do you take an offensive tackle in the first and a linebacker in the second? I only say that because yes, Icky is hurt, but also who knows how long Moton is gonna be available. Honestly, that's tough. That's tough. I put it like this. You take a tackle in the first if you haven't made moves in free agency.
NANI?
If Carolina has not made a move to get a big name linebacker in free agency to mitigate that, a big name linebacker to replace Wallace or Roseboom, you take a linebacker first in the draft. If they do, then you take an offensive tackle. That's what I'll say. It all depends on, and vice versa. If you manage to go get an offensive tackle in free agency, you take a linebacker. If you get a linebacker free agency, you take the tackle. But it has to be a big name. Can't be like a mid-tier, low-tier, cheap deal. Can't be a mid-tier, low-tier, cheap deal. But even if they don't do that, if I'm asking just straight up the hard question, I'm going linebacker first. I'm going linebacker first because I feel as though you can still get a really good linebacker skill or a really good offensive tackle skill in the second round. Linebacker-wise, I don't know if I feel as though the fall-off is going to be a little bit more, and the skill set may drop off more going from first to second round. That's just me. That's just me. But with that being said, guys, that's all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell at the bottom so you can always be notified of when these videos are dropping. Next, comment below and let me know your thoughts on who you thought the best and worst Panthers were. Did any of those names on that list from PFF shock you? 2, how do you feel about Romeo Doubs coming to Carolina as opposed to Christian Kirk? And 3, who do you think are the best offensive tackles in the NFL draft? And always, as always, don't forget to join on Underdog Fantasy. You can use this QR code right here. But let me know everything in the comment section below because y'all know the deal. At the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just a skinny brother with 2 tats. Peace. Much love to all you Panthers Nation. Take care. Later days. And as always, keep pounding. I'll see y'all next time.